The revelation that the Boston terror suspects are of Chechen origin has seen an influx of journalists to Russia's North Caucasus, where the brothers' family live. While the parents are no longer willing to comment on the issue, RT has been able to speak to another relative who knew the alleged bombers from childhood.
Really, almost anyone who has any links with the Tsarnaev family is really in a deep shock after what happened, both relatives and friends. Now, the brothers' parents stopped talking to the media as of early Saturday, but I managed to speak to a close relative of the family. Now, her name is Patimat Sulimanova, and she was married to the boy's uncle. Now, she told me how really tragic and difficult the life of the Tsarnaev family was, and that for years they had been moving from one place to another as the father couldn't find a proper job, and they've moved twice from Kyrgyzstan, first to Chechnya, then to Dagestan, where they spent just a bit over a year until they moved to the United States in 2002. She even showed us some pictures that were taken during that time, pictures that captured both brothers in their early childhood. And in one picture, the older brother, Tamerlan, is just a bit over a year old. Now, she spent a lot of time with Tamerlan when he came here to Dagestan last year to visit his parents, and she describes him as a very family-loving and a caring young man. And when I asked her whether he expressed any extra interest in Islam, she told me that his interest was never overwhelming.
Tamerlan wasn't a religious fanatic. He was curious about religion. He started to be really interested in Islam about 3 years ago, but he was never a radical. We would talk about his commitment to religion, but it wasn't extreme.
It was really hard for her to speak. She told me that Jahar, the younger brother, was planning to come here to Dagestan this May, and now their father plans a trip to the United States to bury his eldest son, Tamerlan. So as for many here, the woman couldn't really believe that they were involved in the tragedy.
It's impossible to believe that they could have carried it out. Just impossible. It's terrible, but I can't believe it. They're children who respected their parents a lot. Tamerlan was very attentive to older people, to his family. For him, heaven was at his mother's feet.
Both parents' mobile phones are switched off or rarely online, and it's really impossible to reach them. But I have since managed to speak to the mother of the two brothers, and Zubaydat kept repeating that her sons were innocent. She also mentioned that her eldest son, Tamerlan, was under constant FBI surveillance for years. Then both parents before mentioned that Tamerlan told them that the FBI contacted him right after the Boston bombings and asked him for questioning. However, the FBI later denied that information. Now, as for the father, I spoke with him also in a telephone conversation just yesterday, and he told me that he doesn't want to talk to any media right now. So really, dozens of journalists from all over the world that have descended on this region hope that the Tsarnaev's family will speak and eventually shed some light to how their boys ended up the main suspects in the Boston terrorist attack.